Hey guys, Victor here, coming at you again with another deck profile, and for today's video we're going to be doing an updated hero list. Now when it comes to this hero list itself, I've actually made a couple of changes that are probably going to be deemed controversial, but I feel like with the way that the format has shaped up, they make a lot of sense, so I'll try to basically go more into detail when we actually get to those points. So with that out of the way, let's jump straight into it. As always, we're going to be starting off with the monster lineup first, and we're of course going to be playing 2 Elemental Hero Stratos. You can play 3 if you want. The difference is basically minimal for the most part, but what it does is it searches your deck for any hero monster and adds it to your hand, and then you can also potentially destroy spells and traps equal to the number of hero monsters, but we're basically just always searching with this because, let's face it, the game's a little bit too fast and basically no one plays back row anyways, right? Then we're playing the 1 Elemental Hero Neos to be able to access our shiny Neos Wingman fusion. We're playing 1 Elemental Hero Shadow Mist, which in addition to Stratos is like another method that we can use to search out hero monsters. But with the way that I've had the deck built for this specific version, it's definitely used a lot more just to be able to search out mass change more consistently, at least until the new mass hero support comes out, whenever that is. But both effects are solid, right? So it either searches out a change quick play or it searches out a hero monster that you may need for a combo. And then for the final Elemental Hero monster, we're playing 1 Elemental Hero Liquid Soldier. This is a card that's basically been cut from a lot of modern hero lists, but I still feel like it's honestly just really good right now, right? Just being able to draw 2 more cards and then get rid of bricks in your hand, like the Malicious, like the evil heroes that you don't want, being Sinister Necrom, like Denier, or just, just things of that nature is always going to be greatly appreciated. But I'm actually using this card's effect to reborn a hero monster from the graveyard more frequently, just so that I can have more access to mass change more frequently, as well as be able to use cards like our Fusion Destiny and branch into like different lines. So yeah, 1 Liquid Soldier, pretty good. And then that's it for the Elemental Heroes. Then for the Vision Heroes, we're playing 3 Vision Hero Faris, which is another fantastic card that just allows us to get rid of monsters that we traditionally wouldn't want in our hands, like the Mallies, like the Evil Heroes, things of that nature. And then what it does is when it's special or normal summon, you're able to set a Vision Hero from your deck to the Spell and Trap card zone, and you're pretty much just always going to be able to set or want to set the Vision Hero increase. Now, you will inevitably draw this card, right? That's just the curse of heroes. We play so many bricks, and you're just going to have to draw them at some point, whether you want to or not. But honestly, even if we end up drawing the increase, it genuinely doesn't really matter, just because with the way that the modern hero deck plays, we don't even really need to rely on Faris resolving all that often to be able to actually play the game. We very much prefer its effect to just be able to discard cards from our hand than being able to special summon monsters from our deck after we set up the increase play. But obviously they're still both very powerful effects, but they're nowhere near as important as they used to be. And then for the final Vision Heroes, the 2 Vision Hero Vyon, because it's just Blazeman but better, as you do not restrict it to 1 effect per turn, and it's either a free Foolish for your hero monsters, and then once that's resolved, you're able to add a Polymerization from your deck to your hand. So yeah, really solid stuff. And then for the Destiny hero monsters, this is probably where the first controversial take may happen, being that we're playing 3 Destiny Hero Malicious and 1 Destiny Hero Denier. We are not going to be playing Destiny Hero Plasma this time, just because I feel like we're just constantly being bombarded by way too many hand traps, to the point where if we can summon the Plasma, it's basically just going to be Plasma and nothing else. And Plasma is just so easily outed in the format, right? It's just a 1900 attack monster that, while yes, a one-sided skill drain effect is good, it's not like it's difficult to break, right? A single Mermail player can just go normal summon Prince, send send heavy infantry, and then just pop it and continue to combo off. Or if you're playing as like a Raziel player, they just go reveal, or they don't even reveal it, it just summons itself because it's an inherent summon. So they'll just summon, exit, send aggregator, negate Plasma, and then you're just sitting there like an idiot because you wasted all those resources just to summon Plasma, and it's just instantly dealt with, right? But yeah, like I feel like this is perfectly fine. These are basically copies. That basically means that we're playing 5 copies of Malicious, right? Because this is always going to recycle a copy of Mally, and it just gives us extension for plays that we normally wouldn't be able to extend through. That's it for the D heroes, though. And then for the evil heroes, we're playing 1 Adusted Gold to be able to search out cards like our Evil Assault, 1 Dead End Prison as like another method to be able to Foolish our hero monsters. But the great card, or I guess the potential weakness about Dead End Prison, is that it sends for cost, right? So if your opponent has like a Bestial in their hand, they can typically just chain it to whatever you send and then banish it before it can get its effect off. But because it's a cost, that also means if they Imperm Veiler it, it genuinely doesn't matter and you still get to send. So yeah, Dead in Prison, pretty cool card. Now we're also playing the Sinister Necrom to be able to special summon the Dead End Prison out from the deck, and we're also playing the one Evil Hero Vicious Claws because it's just like another extender. And I actually really like its graveyard effect as well, where if like one of your hero monsters is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can bring this card back from the graveyard. And then if you happen to have like a card that mentions Dark Fusion in the grave, which you typically will, you can pop an additional card. So it just gives you another layer of interaction to prevent your opponent from being able to just win the game on their turn, right? So with that, that's the monster lineup. We're not playing any hand traps in this version, especially not Ash Blossom, which you would normally see. I've basically just come to terms with the fact that if we get hit by a Mold Charmy, I'm just accepting my fate. It really is that simple. And then I'm still a firm believer that this deck just should not be playing hand traps because you just can't do it consistently, right? If you do, that means that you're going to have to bump the count out or bump the count up from the clean 40 that I'm playing to like 50 plus. And that's just if you're playing like Charmies plus like Ash. And yeah, I'm not about that. So with that, that's the monster lineup. And now we can finally move on to the spell and trap portion. Now that we're on the spell and trap portion of the video, we're of course going to be starting off with the Hero Lives, which we are of course going to be playing at 3 as well. And you know, this card just gets the entire engine rolling. You activate it, you pay half your life points, and then you get to special summon a level 4 or lower E hero from your deck. So that means you're either going to be summoning Stratos or Shadow Mist. In extremely rare occasions, you're going to be summoning out the Liquid Soldier, but it's mainly going to be the first two. And this one just gets your entire engine going, right? Then to accompany our 3 Hero Lives, we're playing 3 Fusion Destiny, which usually is just there to be able to turbo out DPE in the event that you're just getting hand trapped to oblivion. But because we do happen to play the Liquid Soldier, that also means that we have the 1 card Master Hero Darklaw play, which is you just activate Fusion Destiny, send Malicious plus Shadow Mist, and then you make Dangerous. You don't trigger the Shadow Mist, but you will be using your Malicious. You make Cross Crusader. Cross brings back any D hero, probably Dangerous so that you can play around the Bestials or maybe like a DD Crow, I don't know. And then you're going to tribute the monster you bring back, add a liquid, normal the liquid, bring back Shadow Mist, and then search out Mass Change, and then you're basically just good to go. But yeah, obviously it's a good card. It's unfortunate that it locks you into Dark Heroes because it does limit the potential for you to be able to OTK your opponent. And then the final 3 of Extender is 3 Evil Assault. I will always play more Evil Assaults over Adusted Gold. I don't care what you say. I am not trying to lose control as consistently as possible, which is what Adusted Gold does. And this card is just generally better to begin with, right? As you're able to discard key cards that you don't want in your hand, like your Malice, like your Deniers, like your Shadow Mists, like your Sinister Necroms, and then you're able to either add or special summon an evil hero monster. So yeah, 3 Evil Assault. I think it's another fantastic addition. It's also unfortunate that if this card gets ashed and you didn't discard one of the aforementioned monsters, that you do tend to feel a little bit bad about it. Then for the final 3 of in the deck, we're playing 3 Forbidden Droplet because this deck does struggle to go second nowadays, and this is basically just like the perfect card to deal with most boards generically. And yeah, that's perfectly fine for the 3 ofs. And then for the 2 ofs, we're only playing 1 card at 2, and that is Mass Change. So I was like this close to just bumping Mass Change up to 3 just because Darklaw is like, with the way that the format has like shaped up, is a surprisingly strong card, as it deals so effectively with so many different matchups, right? Whether it's like the Malice, no, not Malice, but Mitsurugi Raizio, Blue Eyes, Mermail Atlantean, countless other rogue decks, like Darklaw just completely stops in their tracks. And even against like Malice, right? I always said that it's not the greatest thing in the world to have a Darklaw up against Malice, but being able to rob them of key resources in their graveyard and force them to go straight into their link 3s, and then making them make really awkward plays in order to try and OTK you, right? Because they're not going to have the fodder for access code. They're not going to be able to go into like Splash Mage lines or Lizard Dose lines. And things can get pretty awkward pretty fast depending on how their hand looks like, especially when you pair it with like your destruction effects in the form of cards like DPE and Shiny Neos Wingman. But I don't know, like, and then that's not even to mention the fact that when you get hand trapped basically constantly every single turn, multiple times that turn, this is actually one of the best cards to have as like a fallback, because it means that your opponent's hand is diminished and they're going to have a pretty difficult time just breaking through a Darklaw board in most cases. So that's why I basically was like I said, this close to just bumping this up to 3, but I think 2 is perfectly fine. And then as for the 3rd, I decided to side it and then put it in whenever I know I'm going to go first. But yeah, 2 Mass Change, perfectly fine. And that's it for the 2 ofs. And then for the 1 ofs, we have the 1 Triple Tactics Talent, as well as the 1 Call by the Grave to try and minimize the impact of hand traps that our opponent has. the one Miracle Fusion to be able to fusion summon using materials in our graveyard, the one Dark Contact to be able to also recycle cards in order to fusion summon into our Evil Hero Neoslord, the one Polymerization, which is what a lot of our combos actually go through, and thankfully, we're going to have like another avenue to potentially search it with the new Master Hero stuff, but for now, it's basically just Vyon. And then for the final spell, I opted to play one Foolish Burial. So this is basically like emergency call or reinforcement of the army, but we get a lot more value out of it as in the form of like reinforcement of the army, right? We'd be able to add Stratos, Denier, Shadow Mist, and Liquid Soldier basically, as well as like Vyon, of course, and that's it. And those cards are good, but like by activating Foolish Burial, we can basically do the exact same thing, right? And what I mean by that is this card basically becomes Vyon because you're going to be foolishing a hero monster. But this one, I guess, I don't know how to word it, honestly, but it's just like extremely versatile in the way that it can be used. And I don't know, I just really like it, especially compared to the other two cards. I know I didn't really articulate it all that well, but trust me when I say that of the 3 possible choices, this is probably the best one currently. And then lastly, that's it for the spells, but we are playing one trap, being the one favorite contact, which is what you're searching off your Flame Wingman. And with that, that's the spell and trap lineup, and it's a 40 card deck like always, as it is tradition on this channel, and then we can finally move on to the extra deck. Now that we're on the extra deck portion of the video, we're starting off with the Link monsters first, and as a result, we're playing 2 extra hero Cross Crusader to reborn our D heroes, and then it's also able to tribute our Destiny hero monsters to search out any hero monster. We're also playing the 1 Infernal Divisor to be able to search out Elemental Hero Neos and only Elemental Hero Neos. And then lastly, we're playing the 1 Extra Hero Wonder Driver to reset all of our fusion spells and traps. You don't need Dread Decimator. Okay, this deck already does so much damage that it's basically like, it's just like an extra win button. Like, it's genuinely just not needed. And that's it for the links. And then for the fusions, we're only playing 1 evil hero this time, being the 1 evil hero Neoslord. And this is basically just to allow us to take our opponent's monsters, right? You can summon this off the Dark Contact, and you can summon it off the Favorite Contact, but yeah, it's just nice to have the option. And of all the evil hero fusions, this is probably the only one that I ever like summon consistently, so that's one of the main reasons why you're not seeing any of the other ones. And then for the Destiny hero fusions, we have the 1 Destiny hero Dangerous to be able to have a 1 card Fusion Destiny Dark Claw combo that I explained earlier in the video. And then we're also playing the 1 Destiny hero Dystopia because sometimes you just need to have some kind of burn card and have access to it to be able to win the game. Not that you should be relying on that in a deck like this that plays so quickly, but hey, you never know. Sometimes you just play against some guy that's really slow and you have to rely on it. But in addition to being able to burn your opponent, it's also able to have a quick effect pop if its attack is different, which is pretty easy to achieve in a format or in a deck that has access to cards like Elemental Hero Sunrise. And if Sky Striker becomes popular again and they tend to end on like Shizuku, this card just gets in there. So, you know, 1 Dystopia perfectly fine. And then for the final D hero fusion, the 1 Destiny hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, because it's basically just like a strictly better upgrade of Dystopia, as it's a quick effect pop during either player, or during either player's turn, of course, because it's a quick effect, and it does not target. So, you know, it's a lot trickier for your opponent to play around. And then when this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can trigger its graveyard effect to be able to reborn any Destiny hero monster. So even if this card gets like banished by like a Bestial, right, it doesn't matter. You can still reborn another Destiny hero monster, like your Denier, like your Malicious, like your Dystopia, whatever. And that's it for the D heroes. And then for the Elemental heroes, we're playing the 1 Infernal Rage to be able to search out our favorite contact. And then because we're always going to be using Elemental Hero Neos to summon this, that means that we're going to be able to activate its effect to be able to special summon out Sunrise from the Xtra. And Sunrise is the one that boosts all our guys by 200 attack for every different attribute on the field. And when it's special summoned, it's able to search out Miracle Fusion. Now, its pop effect, it doesn't really matter too much anymore, but if another monster that's a hero battles, whether it's attack or is attacking, you're able to pop a card on the field. But the game's a little bit too fast for that effect to matter, at least when like your guys are being attacked. So, but yeah, it's still perfectly fine. And then we're playing 1 Elemental Hero Escuridao just because I refuse to be caught without a dark hero monster that can be summoned, just in case I have to start with Fusion Destiny. It's that simple. Then we're also playing the 1 Elemental Hero Shining Neos Wingman to basically just pop our opponent's cards during their end phase, as well as it can't be destroyed by like card effects, right? So if you have like DPE, this becomes like a perfect material to be able to just continuously just try and pop cards for free. And much like the original Shining Flare Wingman, or I guess regular Flame Wingman. It's also able to burn your opponent whenever you destroy a monster by battle, equal to their like original attack. So this card's already super boosted, and you're basically just going to be dealing a million damage every time. Then to go with that, we're playing the 1 Wake Up Your Elemental Hero, which admittedly doesn't really get summoned that often, but it gets additional attacks equal to the number of fusion monsters used as material. And unlike Shining Needle Swingman, this card also burns, but it doesn't need to destroy the monster by battle. It just, whenever it battles that monster, it destroys it with its effect, and then it burns them for their original attack. So slightly different, but basically still the same. And then when this card is when this fusion summon card is destroyed, you're able to special summon a warrior from the deck. So yeah, pretty cool. And then lastly, we're going to be ending it on 2 Master or Dark Law because we have increased the count of mass changes, so it makes sense to increase the count of Dark Laws. And with that, that's the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya!